Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, presenters and viewers, welcome back to the paper presentation sessions for International Conference on Art, Culture and Heritage 2021 with the theme Art, Culture and Heritage for Societal Wellbeing, Developing Transformational Strategies. So I'm Mazlina Muhammad Saleh, a moderator again throughout the day. So without further ado, we would like to open for these presentations session 2. For today, the sixth presenter and for the first for these sessions with the title Eco-Lexicons in Marine Ritual Kanduri Laut in Acehese Speech Community from Eco-Linguistic Perspective. Again, gentle reminder that to all the presenters that you'll be given 15 minutes for each session, including a Q&A, and all the viewers are welcome to post your questions in the chat box that will be entertained later. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Devi Prativi from University of Sumatra Utara, University of Islam of Sumatra Utara, Medan, Indonesia. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you for moderator for giving me an opportunity to present my paper entitled Ecolexicons in Marine Ritual Kanuri Laut in Acehese Speech Community from Eco-Linguistic Perspective. Can you see my slide?
Yes, clear, very clear.
And also my voice?
Yes,
is it clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, let us begin. As a brief knowledge of Kanuri Laut, first of all, I would like to explain a brief. Kanuri Laut is a fishing ritual which must have been performed before the easterly wind comes or when the westerly wind comes to an end. This fishing ritual is also called marine ritual and usually performed in a seashore or harbor of a fishing port. The area is always known or said in Acehese as Lo. Yeah. Lo is coast in Acehese. Okay, this ritual also performed by Acehese Speech Community in Aceh Province. You see, Aceh Province is located in a tip of Sumatra Archipelago in Indonesia. And then ecolinguistics or ecolexicons is a study which come from ecolinguistic interdisciplinary study, which relates language and environment where it lives. Ecolinguistic itself sees language as the receptacle to accommodate all the cognitive knowledge of environment, including natural, cultural, and also social environment. This paper discusses language in the level of lexicons as a part of elements that human culture connected to the environment in which it takes place. Clearly seen that among language, culture, and also the environment, it has an interrelationship, and interdependence. So one form of the interaction, interrelation, and also interdependence of the language and its culture and environment is decoded in ecolexicons. It comes to the introduction. As I told you before, this paper discusses about the relationship between the culture, in this case, the Kanuri Laut itself, and the linguistic under the lexicon level with the theory of eco or ecological linguistics. So the relationship between culture, environment, and language. And the objective of this study is to describe the form and categories of the ecolexicons along with their connection to the social praxis dimension. And then each of the ecolexicons must bring its own entities associated from a particular cultural context. For the literature review, this ecolinguistic is actually a study was in hand of Michael Halliday, who addressed the way language has influence on how people see and deal with the biological environment. It points out that language plays the role to distract the species, cause pollution and climate change. All these area, according to field, or discussed under the umbrella term ecolinguistic. In ecolinguistic study, the existence of ecolexicon in traditional marine ritual in Aceh speech community is equally important in the existence of human and other well-being in socio-cultural environment. The interaction, interrelation, and interdependence and diversity of ecolinguistic parameters are reflected in the study. Furthermore, through the ecolinguistic perspective, the study also attempts to acknowledge the ideological, spiritual, sociological, and biological values which are on purpose intended to encourage people to preserve all environment to support their lives. This research focused on ecolinguistic in marine ritual in Aceh speech community from ecolinguistic perspective. So this research is intended to provide contribution to the development of ecolinguistic knowledge, and also to convert people's mind. To convert people's mindset from anthropocentrism point of view to bio or ecolocentrism point of view. I also contribute. I base my study on some related studies here. I didn't mention it or explain it one by one. So we come forward to another slide. For methodology, I use in the studies that this research follows the qualitative research method, in which that the main data were gathered from the observation when the ritual was going on, and also supporting data were from the in-depth interview with the chief commander of the sea, named Panglima Laut. The data were taken from the preparation and performing stage. So from this ritual, I also focus on the preparation and performing stage data. So the data then were analyzed by adopting all the ecolexicons available to the grammatical structure and morphological and syntactical micro level to reveal their forms and category. And also the dimension of the ecolinguistic were covered by referring them to the cultural and also contextual meaning of each lexicons. We come to the result and discussions. I'll present some photos about the ritual. This is the preparation stage, and this is what we call it the performing stage happens. These photos are some of the preparation stage, and also this one some tools or some equipments used for the rituals. Okay, based on the data analysis, the results show various activities conducted in the preparation and performing stage. Every stage is completed by various elements as the condition to perform ritual. Various activities process physical elements and indigenous knowledge referring to the marine ritual as well are included in this stage. The result of the analysis shows that the ecolexicons include the root or forms and also the derived forms. Yeah. Referring to ecological dimension, ecolexicons show relation, interaction, and also interrelations with the ideological or spiritual. We can also say that ideological here as a spiritual dimension, and also sociological and biological dimension. The cultural context highlighted the ecolexicon meaning is obviously seen that the study identifies the internal case of micro-linguistic and also connected with the socio-cultural and cognitive ecology. Here, I focus on the preparation. I focus on the stage and preparation stage. There are some activities, or we can also say some ecolexicons which refer to the activities of the preparation stage. First, there is a repair, kenong, ule, menang, timur, and barat, duk pakat, mita kebe, persijuk kebe, ba kebe, and also tagun. And for performance stage, we have persijuk pukat, pukat, ba penajo, semajo, haba, panglima laut, and also haba imamukim and bereh-bereh. These ecolexicons will be analyzed one by one, but I didn't perform here one by one because it's too, what we call it, too much, and I just have a very limited time to present. So in my paper, all these ecolexicons is analyzed according to the morphological level, and also semantical level, and refers to the ecolinguistic dimension. For the meaning of each ecolexicons, I will base my analysis on cultural and lexical context. Okay. This one, as the finding of my research, for the forms and categories of the objective, we get the base form and also the derived forms of the ecolexicons. And also for categories, it just have noun and verb categories of the ecolexicons. It is in line with the related studies that Achinese does not have other than these categories. Achinese also only have noun and verb categories of the lexicons. For the dimension, all the ecolexicons included in preparation and performance stage, it includes ideology or spiritual dimension, sociological, and also biological. And for meaning, the meaning will cover lexical and also cultural meaning. And for the conclusion, based on the discussion above, the research shows that the forms of ecolexicon found in the research are based on derived forms, including affixation and composition and reduplication. While the categories include noun and verb, as I explained before, it is in line with this one that stated that Chinese has only noun and verb category for lexicon. Affix found in the formation of ecolexicon are prefix, this prefix per and ser, and infix and un. Each of the ecolexicon has its own cultural and lexical meaning. Yes, the three domains or the dimension of the ecolinguistics. It will be sociological, biological, and spiritual social praxis drives to ecolinguistic analysis complete. Parameters of interrelation between language and an environment under the umbrella of ecolinguistic is confirmed, which is also bound with socio-cultural environment. This research greatly contributes to development of ecolinguistic study and may enrich the ritual lexicons to the cultural values. So that's all my presentation. Thank you very much. I give back the microphone to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Devi Prativi. I think that your presentation is regarding on this speech, right? Speech which is, I believe that we will not knowing about the linguistics and the perspective as well until you share some of these words, the nouns, and we believe that maybe there's a lot, right, regarding the nouns and verbs, which is that we didn't know, right? Although we are in Nusantara. So actually, what is the challenges that you face? Maybe that you could share with us.
The challenging here is that we try to, what we call it? We try to touch people living, especially living in the area of my research, is that they can convert their mind, their view of mind from the anthropocentrism mindset into bio or ecocentrism mindset. It means that anthropocentrism, that we see other culture from our view. It cannot be like that. We have, I can say, in my idea, we cannot do that, because if we see other culture, please see the point of view from the respective culture, not from our culture. And then this research is also to make documentation of the language from the lexicon level to be existed from time to time, from especially for our other generation, that it can be, what we call it, preserve or sustain. Yes, sustain in the future.
Yes, so that's very good. That's because we need to preserve. That's the heritage, the part of the
heritage. Yes.
Once again, so for all the viewers, we would like to encourage you, if there's any questions for Dr. Devi, so you can post in the chat box, right? And then for highlighted to you. So thank you once again, Doctor. Right.
Thank you very much.
So we proceed to the next presentations. The title of the impact of a COVID-19 pandemic towards the arts creativity and ideas among local artists in Pahang, Malaysia. So I would like to welcome the next presenter, Dr. Muhammad Ali Imran Abdul Rashid Gordon from University College of Yayasan, Pahang, Malaysia. Please welcome.
Can you hear me? Is my voice clear?
Ready?
No.
Yes. Okay. We can hear you. We can see you. Right. Yeah, we can see the slide.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and very good evening to all. My name is Muhammad Ali Imran. My co-author, Muhammad Firdaus bin Mat Hussein and Muhammad Elmim Haji Muhammad Kadir. Today I'm going to I'm going to present about the impact of COVID-19 pandemic toward the arts, creativity, and ideas among the local artists in Pahang. So this is my research introduction. First, what is art? Art can be interpreted as the expression of application of human creative skill, and ideas, usually in a visual way or something that we can see, such as drawing, painting, or sculpture, producing works mainly for their aesthetic value or emotional power. Arts also can be used in many ways, such as art therapy, art for productivity, and art for growth. Sylvia in 2005 stated that from the ancient to modern times, theories of aesthetic have emphasized the role of art in evoking, shaping, and modifying human feelings. So we can say the art is mostly related about humans' feelings and their expression. Next, art is also linked with someone's creativity and ideas on how they deliver and interpret the art. The idea generation is not complete without creativity. So the creativity helps the idea to grow, to develop into something that is much more unique, and then people can attract with it. Okay, in the late 2019, the world was hit with a very deadly virus, which is called coronavirus disease 2019, or as we say now, it is COVID-19. The virus is said to be very deadly and can easily spread around any area in the world. The coronavirus pandemic caused a severe pandemic that creating chaos left and right in many sectors, especially the economic sector in many countries. Okay, many places were forced to shut down, such as school, shop, recreational place during the pandemic. So, and the pandemic also gave an impact towards all of people, all of groups, and it gave a deadly impact. Many groups of people, such as teachers, business managers, students, and many more were affected. Artists is one of the groups that are severely affected with the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, moving on, this is my literature review. Gilbert in 2021, with his study of the impact of COVID-19 towards the art and culture, shows that art galleries and museums were forced to shut down across the United States during the pandemic. If the museum is allowed to open, it will severely restricted by the distancing and capacity requirement. The statistic in research also found that the unemployment rate in the COVID-19 pandemic increased significantly for the art sector. For example, the number of unemployment rate with artists, such as art director, fine artists, and animators, roses from 2.1% in 2019 to a 9.3% in 2020. According to the Census Small Business Pulse survey, 61% of the businesses in the arts, entertainment, and recreation sector were having a huge amount of negative effects because of the pandemic COVID-19, compared to the other sector, which is only 31%. So we can see from there, arts sector were heavily affected with the COVID. So this is my research objective. There are 4 objectives. The first one is to study the effect of COVID-19 to the creativity of local artists in Pahang. The second is to identify the level of creativity among the local artists during the COVID-19 pandemic. The third one is to identify the challenges that the local artists face during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the last one is to see and study the changes in the art style among the local artists. Okay, I use a qualitative method with using in-depth interview with 7 informants. So the reason I chose it because Melman et al. Stated in 2021, there's a natural limit to the sample of size of key informant. The number of the potential key informant depends on the topic, the existing structure, community, and the size of community. So I feel like 7 informant is enough for my research. The interview also was done in duration in a week, and the informant was asked an interview with a set of questions that related to the research objective. Okay, this is my research design. First, that the instrument for the interview was produced. The second, that the time and date has been set for each informant to be interviewed. The third one is the interview is done with each informant through in-depth style during a session with a week of interview session, and last one, that data will be analyzed for the finding. So this is my interview recording sample. Okay, from the sample, there are 4 major themes that emerge from the findings. The first one is the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. The second one is the level of creativity, the challenges, and the last one is the changes in art style. Okay, first we look at the effect. Okay, the effect of it is that artists having difficulty in promoting their artwork because many places such as art gallery, art museum were closed or they're forced to shut down. So when the gallery or places like that was forced to shut down, the artists cannot exhibit and show their work to the audience. As you can see by the stated in following excerpts, we can exhibit, cannot develop more because we created artwork to exhibit and display at exhibition or museum Yeah, this was stated by the informant one. Other than that, artists also having a financial problem, which is because of the high cost to create an artwork. They were living with a limited budget to create an artwork. Aside from that, the artist is having difficulty in locating a good reference for their artwork. The artist were trapped and compelled to stay at home when the movement control order or the MCO was implemented. So the artist cannot move, so they cannot go around, they cannot go out to see the nature, the landscape, the building, the people for their reference. So the only reference they can use is the internet. Aside from the negative effect, there are also a positive impact. The pandemic pushed artists to create a higher quality artwork with the time that they have when the lockdown begins. So people started to work at home and they have more time, right? Because they cannot go out anywhere. So with the time, they can create a much more high quality artwork. As stated by Informant 4, I wouldn't say I can produce a much better artwork, but it's much more sharp than before. Next, the artists also start engaging with the online platform. So this is because they cannot go out, they cannot, with the MCO happening, they cannot go out anywhere, so they have to engage with the online platform as their way to search for reference. So the next one is the level of creativity. So 5 out of 7 informants stated that they use the expression style to create an artwork. As you can say with the excerpt, for my own art personally, I'm more into expression to express our feelings, right? And there are also artists who use nowadays like viral, like trending topics that are currently popular, so they can be more relatable to their audience. Each artist have their own unique to locating their source of inspiration, right? Some artists they go to the other areas, observing their landscape or people in their surrounding to use as their reference or their inspiration. There are also artists who use the social media such as Instagram, Facebook. These are because of the pandemic, they cannot move anywhere. So the only reference they can use is the social media, but the quality is different than the original thing, right? Compared to the original thing, they can touch, they can taste, they can feel the thing. Compared to the internet reference, they can only see the thing. Next, also we have the artists who use the other work artists as their reference. This to generate a fresh new idea for their own artwork. And before the pandemic started, there are lot of activities that artists can do, such as travel, visit many places, art gallery, museum studio. There are also community of artists, they hang around, they share their thoughts, they do productivity activity, discussing ideas. They also art for the education, art camp, art workshop, and art classes. So when the pandemic happened, all of this stopped, and most of the activities were transferred or were converted from the physical way into a much more digital way. So these are the challenges. Okay, there are 4 challenges during the COVID-19 pandemic. First is the problem in finding the idea, inspiration, and satisfaction with their own artwork. And the next one is hard to commercialize their artwork. The third one is so hard to publish, exhibit, display their artwork to the audience. And the fourth one is the high cost of art equipment and materials. Okay, the challenges is there are effect from the challenges to the artists. The artists cannot ask their artist friends comment and opinion about their artwork. So as we all know, when the MCO happened, the artists cannot comment, cannot meet with their friends. So the critique of the artwork is very limited to the social media or online platforms. So some artists, they have problem to know if they are improving or not in their artwork. Next, because of the artists cannot market and publish their artwork, it will cause the artists to lose their income. So when pandemic happened, people started to prioritize basic needs such as food, bills to pay, right? So when pandemic happened, people really put aside to buy an output. So this will cause the artists to lose their income. Okay, some artists also feel like artists should be a professional in handling the problems and challenges during the pandemic. This, as the Informant 3 stated that, we as an artist, we have to be professionals, committed, and also flexible during the pandemic. So Some artists feel like they should be flexible in handling, like choosing their issues, the color, and other many things in relating their artwork or be related, their artwork can be related to the audience. Next is that if the artist is having a problems to find an idea, they will refer back to many other artists' artwork, right? They will see the composition, they will see a reference as a composition, how the color, how the other artists deliver their message. There are also artists who change their size and cost for artwork. Like before the pandemic, they may use a much bigger artwork that is cost more, but when pandemic happened, they changed their artwork into much more affordable and acceptable by the audience. This can help the artists also to commercialize their artwork more. Apart from the cost, there are also artists who create an art that is not into a deep art, but more towards a commercial art, such as art for decoration. So rather than focusing more on the meaning of it, they can focus or emphasize more on the aesthetic value, so that the audience they can target more on a wider audience. COVID-19 pandemic also helped artists to organize and plan their process in creating artwork, so that many problems and issues can be avoided, such as cost and many more. So when they plan their process and creating their artwork, so it will run more smoothly and many problems can be avoided. Some artists also try to promote their artwork using the online platform to help to boost their selling. They join any art activities that are available during the pandemic to help them increase the marketing. And the last theme is that the changes. The majority of the informants stated that they agreed that the COVID-19 gives them changes to their artwork. The lack of sources and reference during the pandemic affected the quality of artist artwork. And some informants stated that it also like decrease their quality of artwork. Some informants stated that because of the pandemic, they started to look back at their own previous artwork and see their own flaws in art style. So the way that they can improve their art style, they can see what's wrong with it, and they can maybe improve with it. There are also artists who changed their style from a realistic style into a much more expression style, so that when they change the style, they can be more relatable with the audience, especially through their feelings of through going through the COVID-19 pandemic. And there are also artists who didn't change on their art style, but it feels like they changed from the shape of the aspect of the shape, which means that maybe before that they created an artwork that is to publish, like to exhibit, just for the meaning of it, value of meaning. But then again, because of the pandemic, they started to change the shape of it by maybe creating something that is relatable to the issues nowadays. Maybe like the health issue, right? Maybe relatable to the audience. So rather than making an artwork that is only focused on themselves, they can focus on many more audience. There are also pros and cons. The pros are the pandemic helped to improve the process of creating an artwork and make the artist to think more creatively, right? For them to have many challenges, they have to think more creatively to solve their problems, to face the challenges, to accept the effect of it. The cons are, as I stated earlier, because of the MCO, they cannot create a quality artwork. They cannot go out to see the nature and many more. They cannot find a good reference for creating the artwork. So these are my recommendation. First is that the artist should use the online platform for their advantage, because many things have changed from the physical way to a much more digital way. So the artist also should change from the conventional way to a much more digital way, so that they can engage with many more audience and many people. Other than that, the artist community also should work together and collaborate with each other, especially with the well-named artists. They can help with and collaborate with other small artists, right? So to be more productive. And the last one is that the artist also should produce an artwork that can be acceptable by all of the audience, right? They should move from art to a more towards us to commercial. Okay, this, as a conclusion, during the COVID-19 pandemic started, everyone is affected with it. Artists is one of the group that is heavily affected with the pandemic. Their art was affected in many ways. The community should help the artists and support them because they are one of the main attraction for the tourism sector. Artists have their role in attracting not only the local tourism, but also international tourism. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this eye-opening presentation that I think we believe that we all know that what the affected of the community of the arts, people, right? But just one question maybe for this presentation, actually, is it covered for all the local artists in Pahang for this research eventually?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's only Pahang. So what's the next that you're going to do with the research? This be presented for these other states maybe?
Maybe I will try to search about maybe the effect of it around Malaysia. Maybe I can compare it the effects or the theme they come out with, the challenges and all, compare it the Malaysia country maybe towards other countries such as United States. So maybe I can compare it and to see what's the difference, what the challenges from each country. So maybe something like that.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe that maybe the other findings will help more in the arts community and then for a better for the next. Okay, thank you very much once again. Thank you very much for this group with this, from the University College of and Pahang, Malaysia. So next we're going to move the presentation with the title, right? With the title, right? The presentation in the how can a festival be defined as a brand and why branding is essential to festival. It will be presented by Dr. Kuziana Muhammad Rozi from University Malaysia Sarawak.
I will share presentation for next slide. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. But we are waiting for these the sharing slides, I believe.
Can you see my slide?
Not yet. Okay, now okay, can you see? Yeah, we can hear you, but not the slide yet.
Can you see my slide?
Yes, no, these you are not sharing yet, right?
All right. Sorry, my line is so slow.
Yeah. It's okay, it's okay. Yes, we can see now, right?
See? Okay.
Yes, we can see your slide. Or maybe you want to change to the presentation mode, maybe, slideshow. Yes.
Assalamualaikum and a very good evening for all speaker and presenter. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, yes, clear.
Okay. Today I will present about a festival brand, which is how can festival be defined as a brand and why branding is essential to festival. Okay, a brand is part of the identity of a product or service where it can be identified through symbol, character, design, signal, or slogan produced by the company. The brand has become a trend in marketing and considered a medium for increasing product and service demand. Festival can be managed as a brand where it's seen as a tourist product. The existence of a festival have developed to tourist industry to enhance the economy sector and provide the best travel experience to visitors. With the festival scope, brand play a crucial role in distributing information. Brand characteristics such as picture, atmosphere, and emotion attract the audience to visit and be loyal to a festival brand and spend more money to engage with the festival. Festival in Malaysia has managed to attract organizer and tourists involved local and internationally. However, in 2020, all festival and event have been put a hold due to pandemic COVID-19. The government has decided to postpone all events involve a large-scale gathering until COVID-19 gradually recovery. However, some organizers have take a more creative approach to hold the festival virtually. Brand and branding. Okay. June 2004 defined a brand as an idea and concept of a feeling in an audience mind, and sometimes it's only relate to words and talk that involve emotion and a feeling. Casper 2010 think that a brand is a sign include logo, symbol, and design positive and emotional relationship. Killer 2014 argue that brands are more than that and have great awareness, reputation, and excellence in the market. Okay, because of the overlap in definition, the Channel 1998 has categorized the definition of a brand in 12 themes. In 2010, he added 2 more themes of brand definition in their books. Each term has attendance and consequences to the brand construct. In his book, the Channel 2010 has added 2 more themes, which is vision and positioning. Vision and positioning are crucial in a company to develop a strong brand. They have categorized 4 themes into 3 perspectives, which is input perspective, output perspective, and time perspective. This category has shown how brand integrate characteristics are involved through a balance of brand input and output perspective. Brand and branding. Brand and branding need to empathize in the field of marketing. Brand and branding have a different content in the term of understanding. Bonici 2050 defined a brand as a set of tangible and intangible traits designed to give awareness and identity and build a reputation, product, service, or organization. While branding is a long-term strategy that includes various activities ranging from product innovation to market communication. Cotton and Fortech 2006 assumed that branding is a discipline that belongs to organization long-term strategy, has a strength to lead and influence. Festival as a brand. Berger 2050 argued that it is essential to build a festival brand so that organizers can quickly identify the festival. Issue and RA 2009 argue that view and understanding related to a brand festival can be drawn from study related to a brand destination, because brands are one of the destination attraction and directly share some trait that influence audience decision to visit such as festival. Destination brand be used to describe the personality and characteristic trait of a destination and a view of festival brand. The brand allow the festival to maintain its status among relational audience. Value is a relative concept that allow audience to make purchase based on the brand competitive. Effective branding can reach a 3-way: good positioning, improve distribution, have increased the audience. Okay, I like to use these quotes because I like use these quotes. The more symbolic the brand, the more likely the brand is to enable the user to communicate their self-concept. Because now every people use the brand, even is it cheap from the clothes, thing, and food. It's all about brand. Symbolic is important to me, and I think all organization is must have their brand to provide a good good things, a good festival, especially because I'm study about festival, because all festival, when we talk about art festival, people can see that festival is same, art festival is same. So brand can prove that art festival is different according to their brands. Branding is also about a signal. Branding creates a signal that convey the meaning of a particular brand and create a difference of people's mind. The signal people use to determine what brand stand for. Branding signal relate to external thing and clear items such as logo, signage, and more. Signal are one of the channel in branding for connecting brand and audience. Signal involve external, but they can still affect audience mind. Because when we talk about festival, branding have many element of brand, like brand image, like brand symbol, brand personality, brand awareness. So company need to know their specialty to attract audience. Important of branding. Modernization of brand is essential value in the company. Organization are willing to invest in introducing their product brand. In the tourist industry sector, various festival and art events are organized. Each organization has target audience, or through each festival have a relatively similar program. Each of these festivals have a different brand. The way of delivery is different, and the satisfaction gained by audience is also different. The differences and specialties of festival can attract the audience loyalty and encourage them to remember their festival brand. Besides that, branding will motivate their staff, and help the audience know what to expect. Okay, why branding is essential to festival? The significance of festival branding can be described to show that branding have introduced product, can put the brand in mind and create a perception where festival have quality that make it unique. So here are as a for why brand is essential to festival. First, increase a brand recognition, add brand value, create brand trust and loyalty, creating target market. Okay, brand recognition. One of the primary source to different product from a competitor is the market. Brand recognition includes brand awareness, brand logo, and digital branding. Brand logo can increase awareness and allow the audience to identify brand based on the logo quickly. Brand recognition is considered successful if it can be direct and service name. Example like Maggi. We should use instant noodles, but certain in Malaysia call Maggi, but Maggi is a brand, not something named like instant noodles. So they have a successful branding there. So that's I want to all organization use for festival, so audience can easily recognize a festival. Second is add brand value. Brand value is a financial result of management to leverage a brand strength. According to the Journal 2010, a brand is considered a cluster of value. He has declared that the brand is a cluster of 5 value, which is quality, innovation, value for money, fun, and sense of challenge. Audience value, beside that, audience value, divide 3 elements, which is functional, monitoring, and physical quality. Next is creating brand trust and loyalty. Brand trust is seen as a customer belief that a select brand will fulfill a particular function. This belief will affect loyalty with a vital for a high market. Loyalty is like a consistent brand repurchase due to end audience positive relationship with the brand or product. When a loyalty exists with the audience, everything related to the brand will be known, leading to repeat purchase or visit. The lastly is create a target market. The brand target market is defined by 5 factors, which is 5C: customer offering, collaborator, competitor, company, and a content to create value. Conclusion, this article, what my paper explained is a bit of a branding in festival, that important of a branding to festival. Often a brand is only associated with a product or service, underscoring in lack of research on the festival brand. The potential of the festival is very high to be introduced, especially worldwide. A festival that bring delight, satisfaction, and value to the audience will directly create a sense of trust and influence the audience intention to return. Okay, actually, I already published a paper that involved a few elements of brand with audience delight in art festival. I use this conceptual framework for my future research because it is still in progress to get finding. So I use this theoretical framework to know how brand influence art festival through the brand experience and brand personality to get audience delight and satisfaction. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Christina, for this sharing. So maybe about the branding, right? So I think we believe
branding.
Yes, about the branding. This is a very acceptable issues and items that we can accept in this in the marketing or in this worldwide of the e-commerce and any kind of commerce itself. But with this topic, with your paper, actually, that in what area is there any specific area that you are leveraged for this research? Is that for the art festival?
Actually, my research is about how brand experience and brand personality influence audience delight in scope of art festival.
All right.
Because art festival now cannot be produced because of the COVID. And then I want to know how organizational of art take this challenge to get more audience, even virtually or physically.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see the different of these two, either virtual and physically.
Okay, so I think this is the one of the interesting topic, right? So regarding which is this era of the pandemic, right? So was most like this virtually going for the festival, all right? So
still in progress.
Yes, in progress. Okay, good luck for that, Sandra. All right, so thank you very much once again. So I believe that maybe there is a questions from the viewers that, and I would like to invite all these viewers to please post your questions in the chat box, and that can be entertained later by the presenter. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you once again. All right, so we go for the next presentation. So the next presentations gonna be with these titles with a review of oboe solo composing combined with Chinese elements for recent 10 years. Is going to be a video presentations by Dr. Lu Guan Hing from University Science Malaysia.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello, can you see me
Yes,
clearly?
yes, we can see you.
Okay.
All right.
And you can hear me and see me squaring clearly?
Yes,
Right.
we can see you, and then we can see your slide presentations.
Okay. Good day, everyone. I'm Lu Guanheng, a PhD candidate in the music department of the University Sains Malaysia of School of the Arts, majoring in musicology. And I'm also an oboist, so I would like to propose a topic that integrates oboe compositions and the Chinese music composition. For the past decade, I have been reviewing oboe solo compositions that incorporated the Chinese elements. I wish to acknowledge that I'm grateful for my supervisors' assistance with my academic, especially for today's presentation. And firstly, let me begin by introducing my topic. As we all know, the oboe is a Western musical instrument capable of producing lovely and beautiful tune, just like oboe performed the magnificent repertoire scene of Swan Lake by Tchaikovsky. Well, the oboe may perform a wide range of musical genres, include solo, ensemble, chamber music, or even popular music composed by inventive artists. We will talk about Chinese oboe solo compositions composed utilizing Chinese music sources nowadays. I identified two oboe solo publications published since 1911 and 16 oboe solo works covered, which comprise the study's main objectives. Notably, the works composed by Chinese minorities' music elements. I will expound on the statistics of these music elements sources later. The study will assist us in realizing the synergy between Western music and the Eastern culture. It should be noted that the Chinese first oboe solo concerto composition, Nang Ma, a well-known contemporary composition produced by Chen Gang, was published during this time period, indicating that contemporary skills began to affect Chinese oboe solo composing. For the previous 10 years, two publications have been released that include the Chinese minority style oboe solo compositions collection, which featured 16 oboe solo works, and the Nang Ma, an oboe solo concerto composed by Chen Gang, which are the focus of my research today. The methodologies and aspects of work composition will be highlighted in my topic. Well, I discovered that the majority of works have been developed on Chinese minorities, as the project will review ethnic original music elements. By the way, I have here several unreleased Chinese elements of solo craft, except the compositions that maybe have created during the period as well, but these works have not been included in my current research. The talent and expertise that composers use to create new music is crucial in approaching composition for new works. Therefore, the research will contribute to researching earlier stage generations writing experiments in China. Composers will gain a thorough understanding of the oboe's musical characteristics, while will enable to enrich their composing skills. Nang Ma is a well-known and valuable oboe concerto in China music history. Yet, the research has been unable to look literary rating for it, despite the fact that the project will fill a research need. Following the research, audiences will have a better understanding of Chinese or even ethnic music, thereby increasing the influence of Chinese minorities music. In addition, the study will assist oboe players to gain better grasp of the instrument and performing well as a result of it. My research aim, objectives, and questions. First, research aim. The study's purpose is to examine the published oboe solo repertoires composed by Chinese composers in the last 10 years. The first research objective. To examine the composing craftsmanship of the repertoires and to highlight the crucial facts about the crafts, such as composer and time. The associated question is, which modes did the composers prefer to use? And next objective, to explore the writing aspects in the repertoires of the Chinese minority. Question, what are the motivations behind the compositions? And next, to investigate the use of the pentatonic technique in works. Question, how many works utilizing pentatonic as a composing tool, and what is the implications? The three graphs show the figure of the work's composing characteristics. The first graph showed how ethnic music elements were distributed across the pieces. National music for the Korean, Tibetan, Tajik, Hani, Kazakh, and Dai peoples have been composed for the oboe. It demonstrated that Korean characteristics are preferred by composers when writing oboe solo craft. The music elements, on the other hand, come from a diverse range of sources in China, allowing us to recognize the vibrancy of Chinese minorities' musical contents. The genre for accompaniment or no accompaniment is explained in the second number. Three compositions were written without any musical accompaniment. The composer appears to reveal the oboe's monophonic timbre features and crafts. Composing for the oboe may begin with contemporary or tonal musical making methods. Nangma is one of them. It was originally titled Untitled and premiered in 1985 by Peter Cooper, the oboist of Hong Kong Orchestra. The work, like Tibetan traditional music and dance performance genre Nangma. Thus, the composition named the same name of the genre Nangma. As we can find the music instead of derived from minorities element originally. On the other hand, the composition is difficult to play for some of the contemporary techniques, include microtone amplification. Well, we can see musicians experimenting with difficult note color for oboe music. Modern orphan. Pentatonic is a Chinese insignia for Asia or even Asian music. With the 5 major notes, do, re, mi, so, la, Chinese name Gong, Shang, Jue, Zi, Yu, forming vivid minorities music. The melody or scale has the power to resurrect memories of national identity. Pentatonic derived from the Chunqiu period in China about around 2,500 years ago. It was written for Chinese traditional music as well as a wide range of ethnic music. Pentatonic mode, which is not conformed to simply 5 notes. 6 notes or even 7 notes can also be utilized to increase musical diversity. Qingjiao, the example is Qingjiao or Biangong, a 16-note mode, for example. Now, yeah. Next, I would like to give a brief overview of the contents of my research, which includes 2 oboe solo compositions. More information regarding my research can be found in my proceedings. Harvest Capriccio, a reworked Korean ballad by Piao Changtian, a renowned oboist in China, and orchestrated by Chen Changning. The pentatonic F-gung mode was produced by traditional tonal music. The piece, full of Korean music feature, includes triple time beats. In terms of music form, the composition expresses oboe talents in a way that resembles a variation form. The pieces may represent oboe sound in depth because the composer is an oboist. I previously discussed Chen Gang's Nangma Tibetan color composition, which is created in 1985. It is the first Chinese oboe concerto writing use contemporary playing techniques. Many unusual playing that use current techniques have been developed in the workplace, and oboists are challenged to check or possibly invent oboe fingerings to play. Rhythm or mode are complex in the composition, and the chance-time signatures may be found everywhere. As a result, rehearsing or performing the piece is still another obstacle for an orchestra. Following this research, I discovered that Chinese oboe solo composition work encompassed a wide range of genres, with minority musical components being stressed in recent years. Musicians are also experimenting with new timbre, working collaboratively with oboists. Pentatonic is without a doubt the most important aspect of creating Eastern music. I believe that oboe music composition will flourish as listeners and musicians look closer to it. A large number of Chinese composers' oboe solo repertoires will be produced and performed. In the future, I'm expected to interpret more vibrant Chinese oboe works. Hopefully, my proceedings can serve as a fresh and valuable resources for oboists and the composers in the future. That's my references. And thank you to my supervisors, Associate Professor Razif Mo and Ms. Tan Jun-yin from University Sains Malaysia for their contributions to my academic development. And thank you for taking time to hear and review my today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I believe that, Doctor, that we know that what is all about, what another instrument, another eye-opening for us as well. So maybe that mention that are you involving with these this music? Is this?
Great.
Are you one of the composer maybe?
I'm oboist, and now I'm a PhD student in musicology to study oboe composing and some oboe techniques.
Oh, I see that. So that maybe once again, Doctor, How that you mentioned that? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do?
Pentatonic 5-min tune. Do, re, mi, sol, la. No F and no fa and no C. Yeah. Do,
I
re, mi,
see.
sol, la. Yeah, pentatonic.
All right. Okay. So I believe that maybe there is a composer out there, or maybe from the musicians like to pose any questions to our presenter here, which is the oboist, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So please welcome to pose a question there, and Doctor, please stay tuned. Maybe there's a question that will be posted in the chat box later for you,
Okay.
I believe. Okay, thank you once again. Right.
Thank you,
So
committee.
we go for the next presentation. So the next presenter will present on the topics of visitor motivations to the Tun Juga Foundation Gallery that will be presented by Dr. Irfan Hasrain from University Malaysia Sarawak. Please welcome.
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Yeah, we can see you, but we are not seeing the slide yet.
Okay, I'm going to share the slide.
All right. Okay, yes, we can see that. It's clear. Mm.
Okay, you guys can see the slide very clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
All right.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good evening to the all. So today I'm going to present my paper, which is entitled of Visitors Motivation to the Tunjuga Foundation Gallery, which is in Sarawak. Okay, for the introduction. So basically, this study is about the visitors' motivation to the Tunjuga Foundation Gallery, and it focuses on the factors affecting visitors' arrival to visit to Tunjuga Foundation Gallery. So among the factors are pull factor and push factors. So the attraction factors are used to describe the choice of the tourist destination. So based on Crompton 1979, the attraction factor is divided into two parts, which is oddities and education. For the oddity is a factor that can influence repetition visits. So and for the education occur when a traveler is forced to do multiple visits to a place to learn a new one. Whereas the push factor is characterized in relation to the two separate decisions made to the first two sections of focus to go, and the second part is where to go. For the background study, Tunjuga Foundation is Iban Weaving is one of the major projects carried out by the Tunjuga Foundation Gallery. So the project is also looks into ways of improving the value and the quality of the woven textile. With the modernization and the advent of the new technologies, the traditional methods of Iban ikat weaving is being abandoned, and only very few weavers are still using the traditional methods. So based on Ahola 1980 said that the internal factors and external factors are factors that influence the arrival of visitors to Tunjuga Foundation Gallery. For the Deve 2005, the interest in the museum and exhibition has diminished as the tourism progresses. This has sparked the phenomenon as a green museum. Generally, how visitors interact and are interested in the visiting museum lies with an individual as well as factors related to the environment and services offered by the museum. For the motivation visitors, motivation is one of the motivators in the individual in doing or achieving self-esteem by Aziz 2012. However, the behavior of the individual will not happen by chance, but will be motivated by various factors such as internal factor or external factor. Paper 2004 stated that the motivation is a force that can induce individuals to respond to needs, while the needs refers to the lack of sense. The lack of sense can consist of emotions, encouragement of words, or words of the heart in cognitive process in determining a study. So based on Majid 2012, motivation can also be defined as an ability to provoke or increase the impulse to create certain behaviors or action that are more directed towards achieving the desired goal. Meanwhile, Carvey and Scheyer 2003 explained that among the goals that exist in an individual at the same time motivate the action or behaviors of an individual. So next is for my research objective. They have three objectives. The first one is to identify the factors that influence the arrival of visitors to visit Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. For the second one is to study the perception of visitors visiting to the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. And the last one is to analyze the satisfaction levels of visitors who visit the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. So this is a push and pull motivation factor. The left one is the push factor. You can see that there's a 6 push factor and six pull factor. So the push factor is occupied by free time, culture value, be an option for holiday location, interest, knowledge, a part of entourage schedule. For the pull factors, environment and services, uniqueness, price, strategic location, recommended by a friend or family member, and last one is appreciation. So for the research methodology, I'm using a quantitative method which conduct a survey to the 384 respondents around Kuching and Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. Why I'm using the 384 is it is meaning of the population of 1,000 population in Sarawak, in Kuching, sorry. For the questionnaire is I'm using a Likert scale answer ranging from 5 to 1. 5 is a strongly agree and 1 is strongly disagree. For the sampling is a simple random sampling, and research design is a descriptive research. So let's go to the finding and discussion. For the objective one, to identify the factors that influence the arrival of visitors to visit the Tunjunga Foundation. As you can see in this table, 2 tables, push factor and pull factor. In the data, the highest push factor influence the arrival of visitors to visit the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery is knowledge, which state 370 stated positive, followed by the interest with 312 stated positive. This is because maybe the visitors who want to visit the Tunjunga Foundation, they want to gain a knowledge about what is Tunjunga Foundation Gallery is about. So basically, the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery is they want to gain the knowledge about the culture of the Iban culture, and mostly how they modernize from the traditional to traditional to the right now for the traditional into the modern right now. Okay, so visitors tend to go to Tunjunga Foundation influenced by the interest. Maybe they want to see what is uniqueness of the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. Meanwhile, the highest pull factors influence the arrival of visitors to visit Tunjunga Foundation is the uniqueness, which state that 375 stated positive, followed by the appreciation, which is 351 stated positive. The appreciation means that visitors want to visit Tunjunga Foundation Gallery because they want to appreciate how Tunjunga Foundation can preserve the Iban culture with everything that they do. Some things like they preserve the bits. They also the Tunjunga Foundation have 6 exhibition in Tunjunga Foundation Gallery, which is they display a gallery, waving gallery, or something like exhibition. They also got a Tunjunga Memorial, which is, the visitors can appreciate how the how they can preserve the culture in the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. Okay, so the second one. So the second one is to study the perception of the visitors. As you can see, based on Lee 2009, the image of destination is the visitors view the tourism spot as a whole. So based on Cherry 2013, perception of person experience as it relates to his feelings entails a combination of stimulant, experience, and activity as a response to the stimulant. Perception is a way a person feels, thinks, and react to the information they get from the surrounding, based on Rosie et al. 2015. For the Chen 2015 says that the positive image perception from a destination has become the most popular option among the other options. As the result of the negative image perception, the number of visitors will be decreased. As you can see, the perception of visitors who went to the Tunjunga Foundation mostly shows half value, more than half value of the respondent, which is 384. As you can see, all of them are more than half of it. So the perception of the visitors towards the Tunjunga Foundation is positive, and the highest of the perception of visitors towards the Tunjunga Foundation is the uniqueness of the Ivan waving, which is 365, followed by the knowledge information that the visitors can get about the culture is 328. Okay. So the last one is to analyze the satisfaction level of the visitors to visit the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. The satisfaction can be classified into 5, which is tangible things, response, trustworthiness, guarantee, and empathy. For the tangible things is meaning that the things that visitors can see in when they visit to the Tunjunga Foundation. For example, the pleasant, spacious environment, convenient parking facilities. Is it convenient for them to parking when they visit to the Tunjunga Foundation? For the response, meanings that how the staff navigate the visitors and guide them or treat them. For example, for the friendly service from the staff, is it their route to the visitors or how, something like that. For the trustworthiness is something that Tunjunga Foundation offer that can give uniqueness that attract visitors when to go to the Tunjunga Foundation. For example, visitors want to go to the Tunjunga Foundation because of they have the traditional Iban waving exhibition, and also there's a lot of exhibition for them add on the publication interesting Iban folklore books. For the guarantee meanings that guarantee is the meaning of the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery have bits gallery. So all of the exhibition that the Tunjunga Foundation do is a high quality product and services and well maintained. For the empathy is the action of understanding visitors' need. So for example, the staff in Tunjunga Foundation Gallery, they have to get the knowledge, have to in-depth knowledge about what is Tunjunga Foundation Gallery is about, because they have to understand, visitors go to the Tunjunga Foundation, they want to experience the new experience and gain knowledge about what is Tunjunga Foundation Gallery is offer. Something like if Tunjunga is presenting about Iban culture, so the staff have to be in-depth knowledge for the Iban culture, something like that. So the option typical range from one end of the satisfaction level to the polar opposite is very unsatisfied, satisfied, neutral, satisfied, and very satisfied. So as you can see, the satisfaction level, so the higher the number of the responses of the satisfied and very satisfied is the higher the score. So it's implies that the visitors are happy with the products and the services in the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. So for the conclusion, the Iban people's traditional culture has been preserved to this day. So the Iban community's culture, way of life, pakumbu cloth, as well as their dance and apparel are still preserved today. So not only that, but the Tunjunga Foundation is an institution decided to preserve the Iban community's unique culture, such as the publication of the old Iban poetry books and Iban folklore books. Aside from that, the Tunjunga Foundation served as a catalyst for the generational transition by introducing the younger generation to the Iban community's culture, which has been practiced from time immemorial. So in future, the Tunjunga Foundation will be able to attract more visitors. So the Tunjunga Foundation Gallery is the role of this is exhibit. The Tunjunga Foundation Gallery is to exhibit the gallery because they want to form an integral part in the life for the Iban people. So that's all from me. So this is my reference. Okay, so thank you for your time. Thank you.
Very much. I think that's really one of these another interesting topic today to Tunjunga Foundation Gallery. But maybe you can comment something, because of this pandemic situation, on how is it and what happened for these the visiting events regarding this situation right now.
For this regarding situation right now, maybe the Tunjunga Foundation maybe will having a slightly problem on how they want to attract the visitors. So the Tunjunga Foundation have to be, looking forward on how they want to acknowledge the Tunjunga Foundation to the visitors. It's either within in Sarawak or outside of the Sarawak. So for this COVID problem, so the Tunjunga Foundation have to be more, more towards modern. That maybe they can do some exhibitions on virtual exhibition.
Yes, virtual exhibitions.
Yeah. Because maybe some of visitors, they want to go to the Tunjunga Foundation, but because of the COVID, because of the everything and so on, so they hardly to want to go to there.
Maybe instead of going physically to visit Tunjunga Foundation Gallery, but maybe we can have another method, right? Like virtually visiting to a gallery.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's really another eye-opening for us today in this session. So I believe that maybe there's some question from the audience, from the viewers, that you can post in chat box. And thank you once again to the presenter. Thank you. Okay. All right. So we move to the next presentation. So the next presentations are going to be our 11th presenter. So there is presentations on the title of Transforming National Language Policy through Adopting a More Inclusive Approach for Indigenous Minority Languages in Malaysia and in Negara Brunei Darussalam, which will be presented by Associate Professor James McClellan from University Brunei Darussalam. Please welcome. Yes, we can see you and we can see your slide there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Can you also hear me?
Yes, very loud and clear.
That is good news. The hearing is more important than the seeing, I guess. Terima kasih Puan Pengerusi Majlis.
Okay,
Salam
sama-sama.
sejahtera. Good afternoon to the esteemed audience who are very patient, attentive, and long-suffering. I will move this into full screen. I hope.
Yes, if you want to move in the
Is that
slide.
better? Can you all see that in full screen now?
It's really clear.
Okay, good. As you can see from the title, it is a co-presentation, myself and my Bruneian co-researcher, Dr. Najib Nur Rashid. Unfortunately, he can't be with us, so it's down to me to do the presentation, but he's very much a co-author. What do we plan to cover in the limited time? And I'm very conscious of this. Start with a broad focus, the idea that Austronesian languages, including Bahasa Melayu or Bahasa Malaysia, actually come from Borneo. More importantly, and I hope to get onto this very quickly, the narrower focus, how, relating to the title, greater inclusivity of minority languages in language policy development, both in Malaysia and in Brunei Darussalam. So I hope to get through the broader focus bit very quickly and have more time for the section on the right. So, Malay language originated from Western Borneo, or did it? Still a big question. Usually when, if the majority of the esteemed audience are West Malaysian, maybe you find this a bit surprising, because Borneo may be considered somewhat peripheral to the Malay world. But actually there's plenty of evidence, and here is some. Originating from Taiwan, I hope you can see and follow the arrows here, particularly this one. I hope you can see my mouse cursor moving down through the Philippines, through Borneo, across to the supposed Malay heartland of the Malay Peninsula and Sumatra, of course. And in Austronesian, as many of you will know, is the most widespread language family in the world, going as far as Madagascar, near to Africa, and the other way going as far as Rapa Nui, not very far short of South America. So that is an argument. It is contested. It's not the only argument. Here's a quotation that supports this so-called out of Taiwan argument. Notice it's not just linguistic evidence, but archaeological as well. Okay, how did Austronesians manage these fantastic achievement of migration? Here is the answer. They were extremely skilled sailors and boat builders. Malay people in particular are still known as seagoing, excellent sailors and navigators, and by inventions such as this double outrigger, that is how basically they were able to migrate by sea, probably not by land. Okay, so beginning to link into the main topic then. Sabah and Sarawak Malay, Kadazan, Iban, languages of Borneo, have really not been used so much for supplying lexical items to Bahasa Malaysia. There are an awful lot of languages in Borneo, as this table shows. The middle column, total number of living languages. The right column, total number of indigenous languages. Okay, but these tend not to be drawn upon for the development of Bahasa Malaysia, for Malaysia, not so much for Bahasa Melayu here in Brunei. Back to the origins argument, West Borneo, so-called Malayic languages related to Malay, Sambas, which is actually in Kalimantan Barat, Western Borneo, but Indonesia, as many of you will know, is pointed to as an area of origin. It is supported by top historical linguists like Sanda Adler, referred to here, also by a very distinguished Professor Dato Asma Haji Omar. Apologies for not reading her Malay quotation directly. Again, this is about the fact that areas of high linguistic diversity may be the source of a language. So she's arguing the same thing. And here's a translation of what Professor Asma has said. With linguistic justification. This is all way back in history, you understand. And she's not the only one. Connections between Brunei and Sambas, part of the old Brunei Empire. Here's a map of Borneo, which shows pretty effectively the linguistic diversity, and the 4 arrows actually point to the most diverse areas along the western side of Borneo. Again, I'm not going to dwell on this. Sambas is down here, okay, where we are, where I'm talking to you from here in Brunei, UBD. It's also included, okay. So you may be asking, if we're going to argue that that's where Austronesian and Malay languages originate from, how come there are so many Sanskrit, i.e. Indian, very definitely very many Arabic, and very definitely very many Javanese features, both in Borneo and in other West Malaysian peninsular varieties of Malay? Examples, royal titles like Sri Paduka Baginda, we have those here in Brunei too. Cultures and customs, very much relevant to the topic of our conference these 2 days. The Basanding ceremony, said to be of Indian origin. Again, you might want to argue that one. Loanwords, coming to linguistic area. I'm sure many of you know that Merdeka, very emotive word, understandably, is actually from Sanskrit. And for Islamic religious and legal loanwords from Arabic, I'll just give you one example out of very many. The word for the legal word, hukum, it would be one of those. Answer, how come if the migration was from east to west? Answer, migrations can work both ways. There can be back migrations, west to east migrations, and there certainly were, because of winds, monsoon winds. Northeast monsoon for 6 months of the year, southwest monsoon for the other 6 months. Now, so moving on to the national and official language, this is known information, so I don't need to read it out, but this is Bahasa Malaysia in the Constitution. On this side, Brunei, similarly, Constitution dates from 1959, statement about the official language, and this has been maintained in both cases. It was certainly maintained when Brunei resumed full independence in 1984, and is still the case today. So this is coming to what we think is the important bit. Both nations, therefore, have had about 60 years for their national and official language policies to be implemented and accepted. But it seems to us a little bit surprising that the success of these policies over this length of time hasn't really been celebrated very much. Of course, they aim to produce and promote national unity in the midst of great linguistic diversity. That was the motivation for developing these national and official language policies. We don't see very much evidence of the success of this being celebrated. So as a consequence, let us accept this point that the national languages have been accepted. There is no dispute. There is effectively no challenge in either nation. Maybe it's time to pay more attention to the indigenous minority languages, many of which are threatened and, of course, in danger of dying out. So the whole phenomenon of language contact is really the issue or the theoretical framework that we are working with here. Taking two examples from each area, Kadazan Dusun and Iranun from Sabah, Iban and Kayan from Sarawak, Semai and Temia, orang asli languages from Peninsular Malaysia, Dusun and Tutong from Brunei. They all have to borrow from the more powerful standardized national and official languages, i.e. from Malay, in order to survive. So they borrow. Of course, borrow is a contested and stupid term. When you borrow a word from a language, you don't normally give it back, unlike when you borrow money from the bank, where you have to give it back. But why can't this be a two-way process by which these languages, examples listed above, can also contribute to the national and official languages? Historically, that's back to the earlier part of the presentation, bidirectional contact made Bahasa Malaysia and Bahasa Melayu into the powerful languages that they are today, from their origins as seagoing languages of ports and ships and sailors, etc. What's wrong with maintaining this bidirectional contact? Through maintaining the minority dialects and languages, that's another argument that people write whole books about. What's the difference between a dialect and a language? No time to go into that here. Very little difference, I would say. But this surely would be beneficial to both parties. So the single message of our presentation is in the title of this book. If you can see me, I'm holding it up now, a copy of this book, which was published here in Brunei by the Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka 26 years ago, mid-1990s. Dialek memperkaya bahasa, dialect enriches language. And this was the theme of this whole book. So we're not saying anything new here. To finish off very quickly, a little bit of evidence, and I'm not going to go through all of these. Sarawak Iban words might work in place of nearest Malay equivalent, Mararau instead of Makan Tengah Hari. For the Ulu areas, Tigis, also Iban word. We can talk about Malay varieties or dialects, if you like, in West Malaysia as well. Kedah, where I once worked for 3 years in the 1980s. Jom has definitely become popular, originating maybe from Bahasa Pasar, but now become standardized. Brunei also, Sungkai for breaking the fast. Other examples, for the modern necessary thing of face masks, we call it in Brunei, we call it Sungkup Muka. Right, so that's a Brunei Malay word that has gone into standard Malay, and you'll find it on the Ministry of Health advice to people about the COVID. And another piece of advice, terana di rumah. I don't know how many people in the audience understand terana, sorry. Stay at home, stay inside. It's become the stock phrase. I didn't know it before it was adopted as the main piece of advice for reducing the risks of COVID-19. Anak damit preferred to Bai, because Bai can have other meanings in Brunei and Borneo as a whole. And this one, my co-author Najib put this, but there it is for you to consider anyway. So there's a little bit of evidence. It can be done. We have interviewed, Najib has interviewed the director of Dewan Bahasa Malaysia. He talks about this. Interviewed also the previous director, Dr. or Professor Awang Sarian. Dialects contributing to the national language in Malaysia. The same in Brunei. These quotations are from the head of language standardization and development, finding new words. Which sources do they use? I'm rushing over this because I'm conscious of limited time. So just a couple more things to say, really. Yeah, Brunei wants to maintain Bruneianness. They have no policy of containment or reducing, or certainly do not want the other minority languages like Dusun and Tutong to disappear. That is clear. They can still serve as identity markers and even contribute to science and technology. Right, so these are some Brunei sources proposing this. And the very last slide, my conclusion, if you like, although it's not a conclusion, maybe just a way forward. This is complementary to national language maintenance. It doesn't go against it. It's not in any way anti-national. People who are already multilingual have the capacity to move between the national, official, and the local languages, and therefore enhance processes of language contact and expansion. This can help, but it's often been overlooked. Brunei, for example, can do more to maintain indigenous languages. Ethnic languages have a special role. One final example is that Dusun at the moment, Tutong formally, are taught in our university's language center and are very popular, mostly among people who have not grown up speaking those languages. They didn't know that there were other minority languages, but they're able to study it and get credits from our language center as part of their degree. And that is a most enterprising and interesting development. Itu saja. Terima kasih banyak. Ada rujukan di sini. Thank you very much for your kind attention. That is it from me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak, Prof. So, one word, Prof, I think when we are talking about the language, it's like a never-ending research, right? Because
Yes.
it's so diversity. And then when we are talking about the Malay language itself, the originality, the origins, it's really bring us. So we want to know what's the origin, right? So, Prof, maybe it's one word. You mentioned that you worked in Kedah last time for about 2
Yes.
years in Malaysia. So maybe there's one word from you, Prof. You can share with us what is your favorite words from Kedah, from a dialect.
Oh, that's
Kedah.
going back a long way. But there is one I remember. That's
Okay.
a question from, as we say, out of left field. But I do remember for the first time I heard the word kupang for coins.
Kupang.
Yes.
Kupang, yeah. It's a
Yes.
sense.
Now that may be
sense.
spread beyond Kedah, but
Yeah.
I remember it back in the 80s and people used it a lot, and no doubt they still do. Am I right?
Sekupang, sekupang. It's
Kupang,
sense.
yes.
Yes, yes, I studied in Kedah as well for 6 years before
Okay,
this.
yes.
Prof. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a kupang from the Prof. Yeah? Thank you very much, Prof. I believe that there is so many, maybe there's a question from the viewers, but we cannot permit to.
No, I know there are
start
two
on-
more interesting
Yeah,
presentations
yeah,
to
there's
come.
yeah.
What I'll do now is I'll put my email on the chat, and
Yes.
you're welcome. It was on the last slide, but if you missed it, I'll back it up on the chat.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Thank you very
Meanwhile,
much. Prof.
I'll
It's
stop
really
and
wonderful
mute
sharing.
and let you
Thank
get
you.
on to the next introduce the next
Yeah,
presentation.
thank you very much,
so
Prof. Once again. All right.